ready to stream on YouTube. All right, we're streaming on YouTube. Hello, beauties. So today I'm going to be sharing some content from YouTube, playing it loud for all of us to hear here. And so if you want the link, so hello, YouTube. If you want the link to the video that I'm going to be playing here in a little while, it's going to be in the description of this video. Okay. And to the few people who are here now, lucky you. Um, the link for you to get to YouTube, you go up to my bio, and there's a, uh, 1 second, there's a YouTube icon, and that'll take you to my YouTube channel. Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure. A while. All these dang on gadgets. Okay, let me close out right here. So, okay, I think we're good now. Okay. Yes, so today we're talking about the shadow and why it matters when you have, well, there's so many reasons why it matters, but particularly for the women who I work with, the women who are drawn to me, who the thing that women are always telling me is, I want to be free. I want to be free. And ultimately, what we want, or at least the women in my world, what they want is to be able to actually fully engage with life without being scared of what people are going to think and say, what the consequences are going to be, if they're going to lose something, gain something, if they're going to lose love, lose money, lose affection, lose prestige, lose some kind of access somewhere. How am I going to look? I don't want to look mean, ugly, dirty, selfish, rude, all the things, right? And this is, and then it gets so much bigger. It really gets so much bigger. The bigger the game is that you want to play. You notice how it's not really hard to live a normal life, right? I mean, if you want to do the things that are easily congratulated, it's easy to do. If you want to do the things that are normal to do, there's not much, unless you're a god. We know there's always caveats when you're a god and you're, part of the distinct class. But if you want to do something like, and this is generally speaking, obviously, but if you want to do something like go to college, get married, you're not going to have a bunch of pushback. And the women who come into my world typically want to do things that are anti status quo. The women who come into my lives want to do something that is changing the world. The women who are coming into my life want to do something that's abnormal. Right now, all the things that are normal are what? Get the bag, 4B movement, fuck that nigga, travel the world, right? Like all of this stuff is going viral, right? And so you're not going to get pushback about that. But if you're going to if you're going to start doing work around true vulnerability as a woman, like true sexual power, not like this like fuck a nigga based promiscuity, but true sexual power where you are in true ownership of how you walk around the world. You're in ownership of your energy, your words, how you show up in the world. You're open, you're spacious, you're raw, you're unapologetic, and you actually are looking to be highly visible in the world and be attractive and magnetic and literally move around the planet, yeah, you're going to get some pushback. And a lot of the women who are drawn to me are looking to do things, are looking to take up a lot of space on planet Earth, okay? They want to, go on tour doing some kind of true liberation work. They want to do something highly sexual and visible that would have them big on the world stage, sexual, sexy, unapologetic, raw, primal, vulnerable. And these are all the things that's in our, it's weaved into our being as women as no, as you're going to get hung for that. Women are going to lash out at you. Men and women are going to attack you. They're going to want to drag you down. They're going to want to hang you, kill you, assault you, destroy you, judge you. Like, that's in our being. So when a woman truly has it in her, and I want to really share, thank you for all the hearts, whoever that is. I see Chris giving hearts. Thank you. Uh, you're welcome, whoever that is who's enjoying the topic. Uh, Women who, from young, and you know who you are, this is not something you have to question. If this is who you are, you've always been like this, okay? Where a good example that I think we can speak to is like a Meghan Markle, regardless of how you feel about her personally, okay? Grow up, okay? Regardless of how you feel about her personally, you know, if you've seen some of her background, when she was like in middle school, she wrote a letter to some soap company because she felt like they were pigeonholing what a woman can be and should be. I don't know if you've seen or read or know about a little bit about her history. From a young girl, she was very much about women being full beings, powerful beings, right? So this is a woman who was, this is has been in her being since young. And similarly, me and the women who typically pay money to work with me, not women who just show up, you know, I love your content and but they're not, you know, it's not in them in that way where if they don't get it out, they're gonna kill somebody. Like, it's a very different kind of experience. So these women have been different since birth. They've been very even like not even heavily identifying with any of the, not heavily identifying with being black, not heavily identifying with being a woman, not heavily identifying with the roles that what you're supposed to be. Just as a young person was like, this is not it, and was always moved to live, be, teach, live since she was young. She's always been compelled. She's always been a rebel, not just because she wanted to be a rebel, but her natural, true way of being was so aggressively in opposition to the status quo. And when you're truly like this, you're like this from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. You're not influenced by the 4B movement. You're not influenced because everybody on TikTok is now talking about being demure. You're not influenced because now it's about women's liberation and we can make our own money and we don't need men. And you're not influenced by that. All women who being influenced by that, they are the 85% of women who fit very well into normal. Most of them need to go give themselves over to a man, shut their mouth, and live over there. Most of them will fit well over there. And guess what? This is good because average men need average women, or else they go crazy and they start killing, they become menaces to society, and it's a problem. So, this is actually part of how traditional marriage got created. You can go research because the actual men who were sincere about power and domination and ruling things, as evil as it was, okay, we want to include the Roman Catholic Church into this, Christianity, and all the different listen, this shit goes back and there's so many different stories that lead back to the same thing. They needed to make sure that average men didn't come after them. It's the same way we know that you don't show your money around poor people. We all know that, right? When you're going to go to, let's say, Colombia or anywhere where you know it's going to be lower income people, you don't walk around with gold on and shit. You don't walk around saucy, dripped, looking like money. Why? Because you're going to get attacked, because you're going to get robbed. The men who were looking to control, okay, you can take this back millennia, knew that if they didn't give average men something to hold their attention, that they was coming after them. So they created our modern day marriage to get average people to connect, and knew that if he gave a man a woman and create this shit is so deep. Y'all think it's just normal and this just the natural order. It's not the natural order. Go argue with your God about it, okay? Because if men didn't have a woman, and we see this happening today, where so many men are opting out, they mad because now average women, and y'all hear them saying this, now these average bitches thinking they a 10. They mad now because truly average women who are being influenced by get you a rich man and you the prize and I'm not saying you're not inherently valuable as a human, okay? I'm not saying you're not valuable. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when push come to shove, you're average. Let your shit get knocked around, you average. And we don't have to really talk about this. Life will handle you. You see. So once upon a time, men could have a woman and it had something to gave him a purpose, and still they need a purpose, right? So we create this marriage thing. This average man can rule over a woman, and we ain't got to worry about them coming after our land, what we doing, the power, how we govern, how we make shit shake. Because he got a woman over here where he can feel like he could dominate over her. I mean, like this shit is documented. This is not my opinion. I wish it wasn't this way. Go do your research. When you know who you are and you are this woman who I'm talking about, and what I'm getting ready to share really applies to all women. So lucky you if you're average and you just want more for yourself. Who I'm really excited, and I really, my work serves all women. I just know, and let me say this because this is actually a thought that I didn't get a chance to write down this morning, is that this conversation of race, which is very much a distracting conversation, but I want to make a point right now. White people can come into their best and highest power, and still planet humanity will not come into rightness. Okay. If melanin dominant folk do not come into their power, this imaginative harmony, this imaginative peace, this imaginative heaven on earth, a euphoria, if you will. If melanin dominant folk, those of us who are of a particular genetics, who are of a particular essence, who are of a particular blood, because I'm not even talking about all melanin dominant folks. You are or you aren't. Go talk to your God about it, okay? If we do not come into power, everybody else, non-melanin, can come into their best power, their highest power. We still will not see what so many of us who are in touch with our hearts long to see on this earth, which is well-being for all. Okay? So why do I say that? One, because while my work does serve all, and I also want to share for those of you who are new here, okay? Well, it definitely won't happen in our lifetimes, my lifetime, okay? So many things are possible, but I don't see it happening in my lifetime. When I first came into the industry as a coach, which was in 2011, I didn't talk about race at all. I wasn't raised to talk about race. It was not a conversation in my home. My mom wasn't like, all the conversations that are very common in a lot of Black households, like preparing your child for the world, and conversations like, you got to work twice as hard to be half as good. And then just all the conversations that a Black parent may have with their Black child to prepare them for the world. My mom didn't have these kind of conversations with me. So not only was there not this, uh, you know, I'm Black consciousness in my mind as a kid going out in the world, I also was born and raised in San Francisco at a time when it was truly diverse. It wasn't this performative political, You got to be diverse because no, my friends were from Vietnam. My friends were white. My friends were Latin. My friends were Black. My friends were Indian. I learned about Nepal because one of my friends was from Nepal. That was my entire formative years until we left the city when I was 18 years old. So there was no dominant group in my upbringing. So my true understanding of life and relationship with life was humanity. All people have a place, are important in some kind of a way. And it really wasn't until I got into college, and even more so, I graduated from San Jose State. So it wasn't even more so because I started at community college and transferred to San Jose State. It wasn't until I got there that I started to see this race thing as like wow, this like this race thing is a thing. And it's not that I didn't know it did. It's not like I didn't know it existed before, but it wasn't so ubiquitous. It wasn't so like, whoa, this is a thing. These people, right? And so the bright side to that is I could see how very much people were tripping versus when you start experiencing race things when you're young, it's very easy to internalize it and start to think, especially if you're the Black person, to start to internalize it as you're the problem. But because this stuff didn't start coming like wow into my 20s, I was mature and developed enough to realize that these people are off their fucking rocker to be tripping like this about race. And I didn't internalize it the way I would have had it been happening when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. And so when I came into the coaching industry, right, and not even just when I came into the coaching industry, because even moving to Houston was like a whoa for me. Okay. But when I came into the coaching industry, I didn't immediately start talking about race because I didn't think I had to. I mean, I'm clearly a Black woman. Okay. So I didn't think I needed to speak directly to Black people. And the truth is, most of the money that I made from 2011 to 2019 was not from Black people. It was from white women. Okay. And it was because of what my results were showing me between 2011 and 2019 that I realized I needed to start actually saying melanin dominant people or start saying Black people and then start speaking to the particulars of the Black shadow. The particulars of the Black shadow, because there are particulars. Okay. Then so not only starting to talk to the particulars of the Black shadow, but because more melanin dominant women started to lean in and actually invest money to work with me, then I started to hear some of the conversations that I had heard of but never really engaged in, or conversations that didn't even know was happening with so many melanin dominant women. And so it is just so important to me because I also know who we are. This like this dynamic awareness that I have that makes me so acutely, finely skilled for this position that I'm in. I also know who we are. With all this background and everything that I just shared, I also know who we are, particularly those of us who are of this particular lineage. And it is so important, of the utmost, even if we just ignore the collective for a little while, it is of the utmost that those of us who are called in this way, i.e., Jessica, if you're here or will watch the replay, and women of that lineage, it is so absolutely essential and critical that we are in the relationships that allow us to bring our shadow selves to the light. Why? One, because there has been so much internalization of Blackness being horrible. Even this, what I'm getting ready to play, which is an interview from Carl Jung and a quote. And I'm not going to, the video is long. If you want the video, you can get it. But even referencing the Blackness of the shadow, or just Black being all these negative things, dirty, untrustworthy, scary, uneducated, wrong, bad, just all the negative connotations associated with Blackness. So that's one reason why. It's so important that we have a litany of opportunities and basically relationships as crucibles to work through these dynamics that keep us scared. Okay. So that's one reason. One, the fact that so many of us have internalized the blackness being ugly as Black people. That's one. Two, which then is very collective. This is not just Black people, very collective, is everybody fearing being who they really, everybody fearing their unconscious selves, their shadow selves, their repressed selves. Number two. Number three, the freedom that so many of us are like, I want to be free. I want to be all of me. I want to model what divinity is. I want to illuminate. I want to be true. I want to be in these kind of such love making relationships. Like, and everything that's going on in the shadow is what's prohibiting us from this freedom, from these love-making relationships, from showing up on the world stage big and divine and illuminated and true and raw and all of ourselves. It's what's going on in the shadow that's prohibiting our ability to be, do, and have these ways of beings and relationships and material results in the world. And because I am what this very woman who I'm talking about, and whew, honey, the real path, the real work, not just like I'm doing the work, but not really. Because the real doing of the work happens in relationship. You can't do truly shadow work, fully alchemized, complete, and whole by yourself. You need relationships where there's a permission because you agree that the relationship is a crucible. That's why so many of y'all grow up when y'all have relationships that fuck you up because it happened in that relationship, even if it broke your heart, even if it broke you down, even if it left you mad and angry and it's happened in that relationship, and it would not have happened if you didn't have the relationship. The relationship with your mom, the relationship with your boyfriend, your brother, your husband, somebody at school, even if it's a 1 month relationship with a classmate, something somewhere, it's always going to be with somebody. These relationships are your crucibles for your becoming. Now, yes, there's a lot that you can do by yourself, most certainly. But when you're the woman who I'm working with, like who's at this whole other level that I've been talking about, it is so much in the relationship and so much intentionality. So that's a bit. Also, a couple things. One, very soon, I'm going to be starting a small group. It's going to be a year-long small group opportunity for women who are of this that I'm talking about, who are at this level of seriousness, who you either you know you're high level or you're ready to operate at high level as far as your work, as far as the quality of women, who you really are. Like if you've been here since the beginning of my time here today, if you were really born as this woman that I've been talking about, and you're really ready to be inside of a relationship that allows you to, bring your unconscious self to light. Essentially, that's what it is. Bring your unconscious self to light so that you are able to extract all the gold from it, become whole, so that you can show up on the world stage without worrying about being seen through, being hurt, being taken out, losing something, all the things, even like the fear of being destroyed, of not being loved, being rejected, being abandoned, being dropped, like all that stuff that gets in the way of these relationships you are telling me that you want, the love making, this sort of like full bodied, fully present taking him in, him taking you in, lovemaking, showing up on the world stage, taking up a lot of space, fully activated without fear of something happening, and really being able to do that. So this small group is going to be the small unit, the small family that's going to support you in doing that over a year at a high level. So that's the one thing, and more about that in a minute. Number two, my womanhood initiations are going to be activating again on August 26th. The womanhood initiations are more so what I'm calling introductory level gateways into full power. It's a way for you to begin. It's for those of you who are not as advanced. And when you tell the truth, you know what I mean when I say that. You can feel it. You know you're not at that level of advance, but you want to be on your way. Okay, this is what my womanhood initiations are for. If you are ready for community, if you're not ready to be on camera with us privately, if you're not ready to be seen, if you're not ready to be in community, if you're not ready to be true, it's not for you. However, if you are ready to be in community with women like us, if you are ready to be seen, if you are ready to speak, if you are ready to come out of hiding, if you are ready to alchemize yourself so you can be free, you most definitely want to come into my womanhood initiation. So, to come into the womanhood initiation, you go to the link in my bio on TikTok or on YouTube. The link is in the description, and you register for the next womanhood initiation, which is August 26th. August 26th is the next one. The link is in my bio. You can go up there and there's like 7 options. You click womanhood initiation. If you are more advanced and you want to be notified and start the communication around the small group that's going to be opening soon, you go to the link in my bio and click it. And at the very bottom, there's an application. If you're on YouTube, the link is also there in the description, the application. You want to complete the application to get yourself inside of the orbit to prepare for when doors open for the small group, for more advanced women, okay? So now I want to play this video. So the video I'm getting ready to play, again, if you want it, it's going to be in the description on YouTube. Okay, TikTok? The video I'm getting ready to play, if you want it, it's going to be in the description on YouTube. If you want to come to YouTube to get the link, you go up to my bio on TikTok. There's the YouTube icon, and it'll take you over to my YouTube page, okay? Thank you for all the hearts. Let me come say hi before I play this clip. All right, I might miss some of y'all comments. Right on, Chris. You're welcome, Meets World. You don't walk among wolves or raw meat. You need a profile photo, anybody here, if you'd like me to consider your comment? Yeah, we're not all the same. You sounds like you misunderstood. Hi, Maddie. Hi, Awaken. Thank you. Someone asked the question of how can you learn to work with the shadow? I recommend, if you don't want to invest and actually work with a person who's skilled in this, I recommend you just go look into Carl Jung. If you go to YouTube, there's a bounty of his videos that talks about the shadow, and then books uh, 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 the books are very guiding. Carl Jung's books are very guiding as far as, you know, helping to start to open you up. Again, that's all DIY stuff. So if you're not at the level of uh, prepared to invest and to actually work with a person, so you can, you know, the reflection, some guidance, mentorship, to be witnessed, all that, I say do that. Go to YouTube. All right, so let's play this video. Carl Jung has said you need to be very careful when you start dealing with the shadow. And this is why, for those of you who, like, if you want to finish, because a lot of people start and they start very elementary, but they don't get far because the unconscious mind it's enormous. Carl Jung was like, he had a whole separate lover from his wife and children because he needed, anyway, yeah. Shadow work is not like this TikTok shadow work y'all see around. Your TikTok shadow prompt, your shadow work prompts. Ask yourself this, like all that stuff is good. And you start it by yourself. You're crying all over yourself. It's heavy, it's dark, and most people don't get far. It takes you out. You know what I mean? You need to be doing this work with somebody. So just know that. So if you okay with, you know, let me put the head in. I just want to put the head in. You just want to put the head in. You just, just do a little something. Then go ahead and do it by yourself. All right, here we go. Yeah, shadow work is not to be commercialized. Let people do. People love playing with that kind of shit. But go ahead. Okay, here we go.
But because we need more. We need more psychology. We need more understanding.
Can y'all hear? Can y'all hear? Let me know in the comments. Can you hear on TikTok?
Of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is man himself.
Y'all heard that? The only real danger that exists is man himself. Why? Okay, listen.
He is the great danger, and we are pitifully unaware of it.
By the way, this is Carl Jung. This is a black and white video. You can see his face, him being interviewed, I want to say in the 50s. I could be wrong, but like I said, if you want the video, because the video is 39 minutes. If you want the whole thing, I'm only going to play a little over a minute of it right now. If you want the whole thing, I told you how to go over to YouTube, because I'm also recording on YouTube right now. You can go to the description to get and watch the whole video. And whoever that was who asked me about shadow work, this is one way to entry into Carl Jung's videos, because then you'll see a whole bunch of others.
We know nothing of man, far too little. His psyche should be studied, because we are the origin of all coming evil.
Have you ever felt like...
You heard that? We are the origin of all coming evil because of the unconscious mind.
Something inside you is holding you back, sabotaging your best efforts? What if I told you there's a hidden side of your personality, lurking in the shadows, influencing your every move through synchronicity? This hidden side is what Carl Jung calls the shadow. The shadow is a part of our unconscious mind that contains all the aspects of ourselves we reject or deny, including repressed desires, instincts, weaknesses, and parts of our personality we consider negative or undesirable. These hidden traits influence our behavior and emotions in ways we often do not realize. To truly understand the impact of the shadow, let's delve deeper into how it forms and affects our lives.
Yeah, I heard that. Anybody have anything you want to say about that or ask about that before we go further? How do you feel about that? What does that bring up for you? Oh, excuse me. The ocean and its vastness, it brings up overwhelm. What's the title of the video you're watching? We must fully understand who we truly are as a being. So what do we do with these unconscious parts that are not pleasant and we are suppressing? That's your choice. Sorta. The reason why I say sorta is because whether you are active about it or not, the unconscious is going to have its way. Okay. Before I go on, let me continue. Do we simply acknowledge them or really work with them? You really work with them deliberately, intentionally. The amount of light shown is directly proportionate to the shadow casted. Why does this shadow hide? Can you ever fully understand any being, including your own? Okay, these are good. I don't understand the title you have up. I think the shadow becomes the less denser. So, yeah, let me put that there. I put that there to, this For You page stuff so people can have an understanding of what we're talking about here. So this, what's on the screen right now is actually part of this video. If we were to listen to maybe another 2 minutes somewhere of this video, there's a paragraph that comes up on the screen that says this: everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied, the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. Yes, meaning somebody said, I don't understand this idea. I think the shadow becomes less denser. So the less integrated it is, the darker and blacker it is. Okay, so the less light that's on it. So I'll connect this to the person who said something like, what do we do? Or what can we do? Or something like that. So the more a person, because a person can push a shadow part of themselves down so far, and this will, let me connect this to another question. So there's going to be a lot of questions answered right now. One, a shadow becomes a shadow in part because when we were younger, an aspect of ourselves was unwelcome in some kind of a way by the people around us. That's one way. The shadow is also a culmination of things that have been rejected collectively and experiences that have happened in the past collectively that exist in the collective unconscious. So this ties to, like, women. Some of you here may have a fear of taking up space in the world, and you don't know why you're afraid to take up. Like, one woman came here and was like, why am I afraid to expand my perimeter? Why? There's no obvious danger. Why am I afraid to expand my perimeter? That's a collective unconscious that women globally have. So maybe as a child, nothing particularly happened that you can recall that felt like you were put in danger for taking up space, but it is in the unconscious of all the women before you that we've all inherited, that women who take up space are harmed, persecuted, shunned, judged. And so today, when you're like, why am I tripping about creating content? There's no obvious danger. All of these people is around here making all this money. Like, I see the good that could come from it. Why am I afraid to take up space? This is the collective unconscious at work. Then when you have something that is in your personal shadow, now what I just shared was a collective shadow, meaning humanity, even humanity before you. That's a collective shadow. When we talk about we inherited things from our ancestors, that's a collective. Now, a personal shadow means it's personal just to you. Now, how this can show up is, an example is, let's say you were a sexual little girl at 5, 6, 7 years old. You like to kiss people. Maybe you like to dance and you were like wild in your dance or whatnot. Or maybe you were prophetic when you were 5, 6, 7 years old. You were prophetic. You could see through people. You could predict the future. You knew things that were going to happen in your mom's life months before it was going to happen. Like, you were tuned in as a kid, and somebody, your mom, your dad, a parent, you heard something at church, something somewhere told you this is evil. Only Christ knows. Children don't know. That's blasphemy. You were shamed, shunned in some kind of a way. You're going to push that down at 7 years old. You're going to push it down into your personal shadow. Then when you become 34, any adult age, 24, 34, 44, and you see somebody else out in the world wielding the power that you had at 7, but you repressed, you're going to judge the fuck out of them. And you're going to be like, that bitch is the devil. So those people who be like hella aggressive, you've heard the story about these politicians who be like, they be raging against gay people. We need to put these pedophiles, gay people down. And then a video comes out of them sucking dick in a bathroom stall. That's shadow behavior. Okay? They have a personal shadow that makes them rage like that. Because as Freud said, which by the way, Freud came before Jung. Jung was like a mentee of Freud, and then they split because Carl Jung became aware of the feminine that was in the unconscious that a lot of men prior to him were rejecting, because that's what the church Christianity does, is it rejects the feminine, which is why so many women are scared of the feminine in themselves. Anyway, one of the things that Freud was quoted as saying is that whatever is not integrated becomes exaggerated. Whatever is not integrated becomes exaggerated. So when you see these people who are railing against homosexuality and railing against gay people and railing against, it's a part of them that is repressed, that has not been integrated, so it becomes exaggerated as a politician, but then they actually are gay. Right? We've seen these stories, right? And a video comes out of this politician who been like that dude in Miami. He find out he gay and he was hella against homosexuals, or that other white dude, and he found video came out him sucking dick in the bathroom. And he came up on stage, apologized, got a whole wife and family right there, wife standing there trying to hold it strong, supporting her husband. This is the power of the unconscious mind. And when something is not integrated, it becomes exaggerated. This is why it's so important for you to get to know yourself, because you can't not have true peace within. Just because you stay away from people and you withdraw, you're not at peace, because your insides are fucking going mad. You're easily triggered by things and all of that because your own insides are being activated that you keep trying to repress down. Because as this video also says, that we are not, for the most part, humans are not good. So right here, again on the screen where it says, everybody carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied, meaning you have integrated that thing, you own it, you have completely reconciled it, and you are at true peace with it. The less that you have not done that, and you try to push it down, or you're not even aware that it's at work, which is often what's going on, or you keep judging yourself about it, or you keep trying to project onto other people because them motherfuckers need to get it together, when there's so much about them motherfuckers that's in you that you are denying and repressing, then the blacker and denser your shadow is going to be. Meaning the heavier it's going to be, the more draggy it's going to be, and the louder it's going to be in your dreams, the louder it's going to be in your animated personality, the louder it's going to be in your choices, because you are exerting so much energy to keep the thing down. So that should have answered a lot of the questions that came up on the screen here. So hold on. Railing against love. Yeah, that was it. I don't want to start saying people's name because I could be wrong, but a dude that's in politics now in Miami. Yeah, whatever isn't integrated becomes exaggerated. And the psyche needs balance. The psyche needs balance. You cannot be all good. You need bad. You need bad. When I say bad, I mean the things that people who are not integrated would call bad. You need that. Like these super powerful men who are like CEOs of major companies, and they have so much control, meaning they're responsible for like thousands of jobs. You know, like these major CEO men who, right? And these men be having, they will hire doms. Like they hire a woman to spank them, to subdue them. And really, all that is about is the psyche seeking balance. The average human will look at that and judge him and talk shit, but that's just the psyche seeking balance. No human can be all the way one way and not have some kind of repercussions that fuck up the human, because nature is always seeking balance. We might not go about it in healthy ways, but the psyche is always going to seek balance. Okay? We made our own darkness in a way, and we can unmake it. Yeah, you illuminate it. It's going to come to light the most in relationship, particularly when you're going towards something that you most want. This is why I always ask the question, what do you most want? The thing that you think is ridiculous, the thing that would expose your vulnerability, the thing that would have you be required to change yourself in order to have it. Like, that's why when you go for what you most want, your shadow, that thing wakes up wild, and that's what you want, because you want everything that's, I'll say, not you, out the way, right? This whole, you have heard, it's not necessarily about seeking love. It's about getting everything out of the way that obstructs love. Your shadow self that's obstructing the love that dramatically abounds all the time. You're welcome. So, a couple things. This is a, before I go on, because the questions you all are asking, hold on, let me finish reading these questions. Well, because the society is not designed for any of us to be free. Okay? It's not. The powers that be can only be the powers that be as long as you maintain a shadow. You know how we be like, the Illuminati, the powers that be, the people who rule the world, they can only continue to have the power that they have because humanity, you, walks around with shadow parts of yourself. So all you here who blame billionaires, billionaires can have power over you because you're constantly blaming, projecting onto billionaires. Have any of you been like, I see the power, I want to see certain things in the world, and I truly am moved to see these things in the world, and so I'm going to become the being, the multimillionaire that can actually do the things that you rail against. Billionaires should be able to pay and do this and do that. Or those of you who just got any kind of trips or hangups you got with people in power. That's a projection, because how many of you have said, I'm going to become so illuminated, which means you become a fucking loving beast. And for a lot of women, your sexual area, your sexual power is where a lot of y'all will get trumped. That's where a lot of y'all not going to touch that. And for women, That is where we have been choked millennia ago. If you don't embrace the part of you that wants to be raped, for those of you who have an unconscious desire to be raped, for those of you who want to dominate a woman in bed, who want to dominate men in bed, who want to be whatever the thing is that you would judge if you saw it out in the world, that you would aggressively shame, that you, like, right there. I'm not calling it good or bad. I'm talking about all the things that are in your shadow that have the most control over you, that keep you out of power. Because the powers that be, that's why anytime anybody starts to ascend more, people go start digging for things in their past to then use it as a blackmail, to then use it to pull them down. And even, the higher you go, the more you start engaging and meeting people who really can see through people and operate in knowing human nature and fucking with people. And they can exist at that level because they can fuck with people in human nature and they're unafraid. So if you're afraid of aspects of yourself, you're never going to be able to truly ascend, because all somebody got to come do is come look through you, see some part of yourself that you feel shadow about, get you, and you out. So these big things you want to do in the world, you never can do it if you don't deal with a part of you that wants to be raped. Because the nigga who's at a certain level of power, who actually likes to do that with women, but he's out in the open about it, but you in the dark about it, all he got to do is come get in your face about it, and you're going to be all beside yourself, right there on the verge of your project coming out in a big way, and you're going to abandon ship. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever it could be. Whatever it could be. It could be a man who got some kind of insecurity about something, and some woman who can see straight through that thing and hits him right in that spot. That nigga gonna spiral, and then Lord knows what he'll do. But this is how the powers that be can keep a grip on humanity, because y'all so busy that, and whatever the thing is. Yeah, shame is big business. Shame is big business. When you are not ashamed of the most filthy thing about you, of the most ungodly thing about you, that you have discovered as an aspect of yourself because you've been doing shadow work, and nobody can hold nothing over your head, you can come on camera and say, yep, I like niggas making me take the dick. I like being raped. Yep. I like making women fuck me up. Whatever. Whatever the thing is, okay? When you can not be owned by that, do you know how, like, dangerous you become? You know how dangerous you become? When you are truly on the path to doing your thing in the world, though, be clear. This is not just because I'm talking to women who are really here to serve. And when you're really here to do work that's waking up the masses, boy, I'm telling you, people are going to be triggered by your presence, because when you start illuminating in this way, you can walk into a room and not say a word, and people start feeling just uneasy and they don't know why. When this first started to happen to me, I didn't even know how to, I wasn't aware of how much people can be impacted by you and you don't even talk. The more you start to illuminate, because your being shifts and the way you vibrate when you walk around a room. And I would notice how people would start to, like, the room would get quiet when I would walk in. Like, people was talking. Then when I walk in, they would get quiet. And it'd be like and you could see. And then I started to realize, okay, I gotta be aware of this. I gotta be aware of people responding. I gotta make sure, like, when I walk into this room, be deliberate, be ready to leave. Like, you know what I mean? And because people don't talk about this kind of stuff, or at least they weren't talking about it as I started to become more illuminated, there was a lot of trial and error and a lot of not realizing that people's unconscious is being activated by my mere presence. And I need to have some empathy around that. and be mindful and deal with that skillfully. So when you're on purpose in your life and you truly are here to wake people up, when you start to activate your own shadow, and you start to really embody and approve of all aspects of yourself, a compassion develops, a real strong compassion, an authentic compassion. It's not like you trying to be a good person. It's authentic because it's towards yourself first. There's no real compassion for other people if you don't have it for yourself first. This is why you've heard a lot of our ancestors say, I don't trust you to love me if you don't love you. Okay. And whatever you judge yourself about, you're going to judge me about. So let's clear that up. Okay. The more you truly start to bring up the parts of you that are selfish, greedy, you're a taker, you want it all, you're jealous, you're combative, you're mean, all of these things about yourself that either you are in rejection of, you don't even realize yet, that you project onto other people, etc. The more you start to bring that into light and approve of it, and part of the approval is recognizing why you're that way to begin with. Where does this come from? What have you been lacking that you didn't realize? I haven't let myself have this because I watched my mother lack this as a child, and I thought that I couldn't have this. And because I've been thinking I couldn't have this all this time, I shunned and judged other women who did have it because all this time I thought I couldn't have it when I know I can. Oh God, and I approve of that I realized that was me. So then when you see another woman do the same thing with you, your compassion is honest. It's not you just trying to be a good person because these bitches, girl, I got compassion for these bitches because these bitches, girl, I'm sick of these bitches anyway. It's not coming from that. It's coming from, you remember when you did that. You remember when you had that same scarcity running through your nervous system and you've reconciled it and brought it to light. So that's why, for those of you who have already done a lot of integration, when people do things that you used to do, ugly things about you, selfish things, mean things, greedy things, harmful things, that you have truly reconciled in yourself, and you see another person doing it, and you see other people shaming them about it, you like, girl, let me tell you, you know? And this is why, when you are truly here to change the world, which is not an outward act. Changing the world is not about going out there and dealing with them demons, dealing with the man, dealing with the government. Changing the world is not about going out there, dealing with your mama, dealing with him, dealing with these niggas, dealing with the school system, dealing with the changing the world is not about dealing with the outer. Changing the world is about dealing with you. Because when you deal with you, it's you walking into the room in the conversation with your mama, the room in the conversation at your job, the room in the conversation with your man, the room in the conversation with your children, the room in the wherever you going in the world, and people are looking at you and are waking up at your mere presence. Even if at first they like, who is this bitch? I've been on the internet almost 13 years creating content. You might be new to me, but I've been on here for 13 years. I have women who have been watching me for 10, 11, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Come to me, Naima, I've been watching your content for 7 years. And when I first saw you, it was too much for me. I was too triggered. I couldn't. And then I saw your videos again like 3 years later, and I could watch it a little bit more, but I still wasn't, ooh. And you came across my feed again 3 months ago, and I was ready. And I was ready. This is why, stand firm, child. Stand firm in the truth, child. Love yourself. Do the work to bring the ugly of you, the hate in you, the demon in you to the light. So when you stand before them, they know that you are God. They know you got to work. You got to be steadfast in your work. This is not lightweight. This is not TikTok cute. Cause bitch, I'm getting me a rich husband, bitch, in 4B, and I don't need no man. Girl, these niggas don't love us. Girl, and bitch, cause I'm a bad bitch. And girl, and the devil is busy, girl, and people just be out to get you, girl. You can't trust nobody, girl. And this shit is wicked, bitch. The planet is ghetto, bitch. And I don't that. Projection, rejection, fear, clothes. That's what all of that is. That's what all that is. That's what all that is. I need to plug up my phone and I don't have no panties on. So hold on. So I need to move a certain kind of way. Be careful. We don't need the content being blocked. Oh, look, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. There we go. All right. All right. Ooh, hello, y'all. Hey, y'all. All right, welcome in, welcome in. I see we got more faces. Thank you for all the hearts. Wow, we got over 12,000 hearts. Hello. So I'd like to reiterate, if you are ready to embark on this path for real, okay, community over time, I invite you into my womanhood initiation. Okay, these are, if you love this, you're going to love womanhood initiation. This is the work we're doing. We're bringing it all to light. Everything that we repressed, that we felt unwelcome by, feeling too big, too much, most definitely come into my womanhood initiation. It's your gateway into my woman community. And the woman community is $99 a month. So let's be clear, okay? If you're not ready to invest money, it's not for you, okay? So that's one. Our womanhood initiation is happening August 26th. Go to the link in my bio. Go to the link in the bio to sign up for the womanhood initiation if you're ready to get free in the ways that we're doing here and more, and connect with other women who are doing the same, okay? Also, if you are advanced, and you need to be self-aware to know that you're advanced, okay? You've been on this path, you've been doing a lot of dark work already. Um, you've always been the woman who thought ahead, who was ahead. You're just astute in that way. You're spiritually astute, you're experientially astute in the real world, and you're ready to work with high level women. I have a small group that's going to be starting, okay, for high level advanced women. It's going to be a lot more money. You're looking at a 5-figure price tag. So if you're not ready to invest at that level, work at that level with a closer level of intimacy, don't come in. But if you are ready for that, go to the link in my bio and there's an application. So when you go to the link in my bio, click it, there are maybe about 7 options. The womanhood initiation, which is an entry level, that's there, womanhood initiation. All the way at the bottom is an application for you to complete to come into this small, more high level advanced opportunity, okay? It's a more intimate group. The woman community is bigger. The intimate group is much smaller. I'm going to keep that small, okay? So, questions. Now is the time to ask questions before I go on. Are there any questions? I think I missed a lot up here. I love you. Hi, Nigeria. Shadow work is shadow work, whether you're, no matter your gender. Shadow work is shadow work. So I'd like to play some more of this video. How about that? Unless someone has questions. Does anybody have questions? Otherwise, I'd like to play more of this video. Okay, here we go.
Jung tells us in his collected works, Psychology and Religion, unfortunately, there can be no doubt that man is, on the whole, less good than he imagines himself or wants to be. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. If an inferiority is conscious, one always has a chance to correct it. Furthermore, it is constantly in contact with other interests, so that it is continually subjected to modifications. But if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, it never gets corrected. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. If an inferiority is conscious, one always has a chance to correct it. But if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, it never gets corrected, and is liable to burst forth suddenly in a moment of unawareness. Ultimately, it creates an unconscious barrier, undermining even our best intentions, often revealed through meaningful coincidences. The shadow forms through societal norms, personal experiences, and repression. From a young age, we learn which behaviors, thoughts, and emotions are unacceptable to our family and society, pushing these traits into our unconscious mind. For example, a child told that anger is bad might repress their anger, making it part of their shadow. The shadow holds various qualities, strengths, and potentials. If left unexplored, these aspects can lead to a diminished personality, creating unconscious obstacles that hinder the development and expression of these positive traits. Understanding that everyone carries a shadow helps us recognize its profound impact on our lives. Next, let's explore the...
All right, I'm going to leave it at that. So if you want this video, which is 39 minutes, it's great intro. For those of you who are new to the shadow, or like Carl Jung, if you go up to my bio on here on TikTok, there's a YouTube icon that brings you over to my YouTube. This video right now where I'm live, in the description is the link to this video for you to go watch it. It's good. I think it's a good intro to Carl Jung if you're new to Carl Jung, new to the unconscious, and it'll direct you to other videos, books. He has so many books that you can get on Amazon right now to help you start to do this yourself. And this is what I'm going to say in closing, okay? Whenever I start talking about this, my motherly heart just comes alive, because I'm very much aware of the workings of the shadow and what it looks like when a person is, deliberate about this. And it's scary. There's massive amounts of anxiety. Uh, and a person could very easily abandon it altogether when trying to do this work by themselves. This is why I'm emphasizing work with somebody, even a therapist, and let me share a caveat about that. So this is what I want to talk about in closing. I'm going to talk about uh, some things to be mindful of and to fill you in on some things you might not know about working with the unconscious mind, okay? So first of all, um, oh, let me close this window. Hold on. Let me see. Can I? I can't. I gotta close it though, because the mosquitoes. I gotta hurry up. So, first of all, see, a mosquito's already in here. First of all, I highly recommend that you work with somebody and illuminating your unconscious mind. I highly recommend. Why? Because depending on what you tap inside yourself that's currently hidden from you, uh, it could, I want to use the word disable is the word that I want to use in my word that comes to mind. Why am I saying this? Because depending on who you are, your proclivities, your current life. See, I don't know any of you, so right, I can't answer this personally for you. But depending on what's going on in your life right now, like I know a woman who's in my community who had to take off work for like, I think maybe 2 days because she's been doing unconscious work because she's looking to manifest something very specific. And she was like, it was just too much. I needed to take off work. And she took off work for 2 days. And so it seems bad, like, oh my God, it's so heavy, it's such a burden, it's such a, but actually, it's just all that before the light. Like, you're just not going to be an illuminated person, like, truly, like this light that we love to talk about. To really become a light, it's very disruptive to your current life. And if you need your current life to stay intact, like if you have such attachment to your current life, because whatever the reason, right? Your identity is wrapped up in it. You're scared of anything other than it. You're just have deep fear of the unknown. And you need your current life to stay as is. Your unconscious mind is just going to push up against that, and it's going to create such and you're just going to create your own war unnecessarily. It's you creating the war. That's all it's going to be. And so, one, if you're not ready for your current life to be wiped, right? And I don't know what your life looks like now, but if you're not ready for your current life to be to fall apart, to lose things, to, you know, um, don't start shadow work, first of all. Like the truly and complete it. A lot of people do, the shadow work journal, and they cry about some trauma from their past, and they like think they did shadow work. And no, real shadow work, it changes you because it's bringing aspects of yourself from 7, 8, 9 years old that you repressed for whatever reason and bringing them into light, and it changes you. So the people who are in your life, a spouse, a friend, whoever, they could totally no longer have a place because they only fit because of the identity you currently have. So I'm saying all this just so I could fill in some potential naivete you have around shadow work, because it's been so commercialized, it's been made so light. Like shadow work, yeah, girl, I've been doing shadow work, girl. It's no joke, and you know, it's very, yeah. It's like I said, Carl Jung, who was the godfather in many ways around the aspects of the feminine in the unconscious mind, he wrote about this extensively, and he had clients and people around him extensively. You can see videos online talking about him having a whole lover. Carl Jung was married with kids, but he had a woman with an advancing mind who had her own ambitions and was a writer. She actually came from money, and she funded him quite a bit. And he had a lover named Tony, and he wrote about, and even people talked about him like withdrawing from everyday life to go and do this underworld work because it's so dense. It shifts you so much. And he wrote about it, and it was talked about where, Tony, who was his lover, and Tony was a woman, who was his lover, who he said he could not have done that without her because she was like the woman he could lose himself with. He could, the identity that we have, like if I were to meet you for coffee, like who you would show up as, that identity. Like when a man meets you, you go out on a date, y'all both showing up with this identity. You're trying to be this woman, he's trying to be this man, and you both are projecting these ideas you have of yourselves, and then also seeing the other person through your own projection and ideas, right? When he's with Tony, they're together, they get to drop all that because in order to really deal in the unconscious, you can't try to maintain the idea you have of yourself, which is what makes it so disorienting for people because you are relying so heavily on this made up part of yourself to make sense of the world. But the made up self is such a small fraction of who you are. And the freedom you're looking for is in the part of you that is unknown. And so Tony was this place where he could get to know the feminine. He could get to know this chaos inside of a structured environment inside the relationship, which is what I say, two or more, where you get a chance to have it as the crucible. And he even talked about it and wrote about it, and other people did, that his family, the traditional family, acted as the thing that helped anchor him in reality where normal life was living. But it was the work in the unconscious that helped him bring his work into the world. So I say that because you're going to need an environment that acts as a dark hole, if you will, that's safe for you to get to know the aspects of yourself that right now you either are completely unaware of, or you reject, or you shame. And these are all helping you come get free and be illuminated. So when you become whole and you come out into the world, you either are a beacon of light to the people who want this truth and who are seeking this consciously and unconsciously. You become an agitation to people who need stuff to stay the same because it's a confrontation to their own rigid idea of life and how things are supposed to be, and them afraid of confronting their own selves. And you become this stand in the world, and you become a liberator, and you're truly an illuminated being. And then you just like, man, you just cross over to a whole other domain when you take it beyond just for you, and then you take it to be in service to people in an active, deliberate way in the form of a coach, a healer, a speaker, a writer, a medicine woman, etc. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Then it really boom, 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 back to that, bow, boogity, boogity, bow, bow. Boogity da da. Hey, and then you can be like, got a big ego, such a huge ego. Because when you do this work that I'm talking about, then you're very in healthy relationship with your ego, and you know how to have it submit to the work versus having it drag you around and be this animated big old being who isn't integrated. So then it's, I walk like this cause I can back it up. I talk like this cause I can back it up. Got a big ego, such a huge ego. Right? So you can move moment by moment in any room, any day, any time through small, big, quiet, loud, visible, pull back, modest, out. Like, because you can access all of you. You can pull this part of you in any room, anywhere. You're not, so then you don't need to keep people away. You don't need to be scared of being found out or doxxed, or you don't need to feel ashamed of being unloved or rejected, or will they see me? Can I handle this? What will they say? Because you have it as a lifestyle. It's not a one-time thing, as a lifestyle, bringing all of this up to the light. And then it's like you just walk into a room and people are like, who is that? And you're not worried about it. You're not tripping. You don't feel the need to freeze. You understand exactly what's going on, and you can interact with it intelligently depending on your purpose for being in that room. So if you're ready for this kind of power, you should come to my Womanhood initiation as an intro. Again, this is your intro as a possibility of coming into the woman community, which is $99 a month. You sign up for the Womanhood initiation by going to the link in my bio and registering there. Or if you're ready to actually work together in a much more intimate way, you want to complete the application. That's also with the link in my bio at the very bottom. And if you're on YouTube, the links are in the description. Yes. Eventually, you become a safe space for others. This is correct. So I share that just to fill you in as part of the closing, and also just to fill you in on the gravity of this unconscious work, and that light is available for you on the other side, and that this is a lifestyle. This is not a one-time thing. You can do it. Women like us are doing it. It's the best thing. It's the best thing you're going to do for yourself, for your children, for your boyfriend, future husband, your relationship with your parents, at work. It's just it's the best investment in your current life and in your future. Absolute best, because it constitutes who you are as you walk around the world, who you are watching this video, who you are when I leave here, who you are when you go to sleep tonight, wake up in the morning, when you go out, when you're making decisions. It's constituting all of that. You making it a lifestyle to do this work. And then if you don't want any of the like community work, or whether in the bigger group or in the smaller group, there's other options with the link in my bio. There's Shadow Gold. You'll see that there. There's Heal Your Witch Wound. All of this is dealing with the shadow in some kind of a way. So if you have any questions about anything, feel welcome to DM me. And this is your last time to ask me questions. I wish I could pause my YouTube and close the window. I'm gonna have to, because I know it's two mosquitoes in here. Any questions? 45 seconds. 45 seconds or so. Any questions? It's difficult, you all, okay? And it's worth it. Difficult and worth it. You're welcome. All right, I'm going to end YouTube now.